Honkai Star Rail is a free-to-play turn-based RPG, set in a science fantasy universe featuring the Trailblazer, the main character traveling across planets with the Astral Express and its crew. Together they help connect the worlds while resolving disasters caused by objects called the Stellarons. It is the fourth installment in the Honkai series, and the most popular out of them, and since the game launched in 2023, its characters, world, lore and combat has been loved by many gamers. Similar to many live service games, starting to play a game that has been out for a while can feel quite overwhelming. In this video we will talk about the main aspects of the game, explain the gacha system, combat and team building. We will also give some tips that perhaps could make the arrival on the Astral Express a bit more comfortable. The lore of the game is extensive and truly fascinating for those who enjoy playing games with rich stories. If the story is not the main interest point for you, feel free to skip to the next chapter of the video. In the Honkai Star Rail universe, both humans and sapient non-human beings follow the Eons. The Eons are mysterious, godlike higher dimensional beings, having power over a path. In the lore, paths are energy manifestations or universal philosophical concepts, while in combat it usually signifies a certain role or playstyle. Eons also have the ability to bestow access to their power, making a mortal an emanator. The current playable paths in the game are Destruction, the Hunt, Erudition, Harmony, Nihility, Preservation, Abundance, and, once version 3.0 comes out, the newly added Path of Remembrance. We will explain their combat abilities in the next chapter. The game follows a classic JRPG formula, where the players build a team of up to 4 characters and engage in turn-based combat. Each character has an elemental type that affects the type of damage dealt to targets, a class, which as we'll learn in the lore chapter is referred to as a path, and a set of unique abilities called traces. Each character equips a light cone, which acts like a weapon, and relics, which act like a set of gear and an outfit that has no visual effect but increases stats. The different types or elements are physical, which applies a debuff called bleed, fire, which applies a debuff called burn, lightning, which applies a debuff called shock, wind, which applies a debuff called wind shear, and ice, quantum, and imaginary that apply debuffs that are crowd control debuffs. The previously mentioned debuffs are all damage over time debuffs. The different playable paths are Destruction, which deals damage and possesses great survivability, the Hunt, which deals single target damage, Erudition, which deals multi-target damage, Harmony applies buffs to allies, Nihility, which is currently the most versatile path, the main connection between the characters being that they apply debuffs, Preservation, which possesses defensive abilities to protect allies, Abundance, which heals allies, restores HP and removes debuffs, and the new Path of Remembrance, which we still don't know exactly what it would do except for having a summon. The core types of teams as of the current state of gameplay are Hypercarry, Damage over time, Break, and Follow-up Attack. Some teams also fall under a secondary category, Skill Point Heavy, which is either characters who give a lot of skill points or use a lot of skill points. Kind of like Dunhung 5-star version. Debuff. Currently we have the Acheron teams. HP fluctuation, like Jingliu or Blade teams, and summons. The introduction to the game explains the combat system in great detail, but the understanding of the different types of teams usually comes later on after playing the game for a while. Most of it is not incredibly important early on, since the characters you get for free through the story are compatible with the early combat and can help you progress through the early game with ease. As with most turn-based combat, team building is what will determine how much you will struggle or succeed with combat, so try to read the kit explanation of the characters you use. Gacha games are video games that implement gachapon machine-style mechanics. Yes, those vending machine dispense capsule toys originating in Japan. Yes, exactly those. In general, gacha games require spending in-game currency to obtain random rewards. Gacha games are often criticized for being addictive and are compared to gambling since it is possible to spend real money on in-game currency. In this section, we will explain the gacha system in Honkai Star Rail, and in the next section, we will discuss how to play the game as a free-to-play or a small spender. The premium currency in Honkai Star Rail is called Stellar Jades. While it has multiple uses, the only one you should use it for is to purchase Star Rail Special Passes. The gacha system encompasses two resources: warps, which are banners, the pools of available items, such as characters and light cones, and Trailblaze Power, or stamina in other games, which is the primary energy system that allows you to claim different materials. Fuel is a consumable that replenishes Trailblaze Power, and it should be the only resource you use for this matter. However, I would recommend saving some fuel and not to use it all at once. The banner system consists of 4 different types of banners. The Stellar Warp, or the standard banner, is always available and requires Star Rail passes to warp. You should never spend Stellar Jades to warp on this banner. You will get enough Star Rail passes from just progressing through the game. Limited time event warps are split into 2, one for characters and one for light cones, or weapons. They are available for limited time, usually around 3 weeks, though this changes occasionally and could change in the future. You can check how many days are left for a limited banner based on the timer on the banner itself. Those event warps require Star Rail Special Passes and are the only warp you should actually spend your Stellar Jades on. The Departure Warp, or as some call it, the Beginner Banner, is available indefinitely until all 50 warps are made. And it also has a discount, so only 40 warps are required to obtain one of the standard 5-star characters. Characters have a rarity of 4 or 5 stars, and light cones have a rarity of 3, 4, or 5 stars. You are guaranteed to get a 4-star item within 10 warps, and a 5-star item within 90 warps for characters, and 80 warps for light cones. For limited banners, there is a 50-50 chance to get the promotional character. If you lose a 50-50 and obtain a standard 5-star character, the next 5-star character you obtain is guaranteed to be the promotional character. For light cones, a similar system follows, only the rate is 75 to 25, unlike the character banner. While you might see many people online spend a lot of money on different banners to obtain characters, eidolons, and light cones, the majority of players are more casual and do not spend money on the game, or spend very little. In this section, I will explain what to expect when you play the game without spending real money, and how to make sure you enjoy the game to its fullest. As someone who plays multiple games with the gacha system, I can confess that sometimes the fear of missing out can get in our heads, and we can often be told that there's a right or wrong way to play the game. However, games are meant to be fun. Surprising, I know, right? And unless you have a lot of money to spend and are eager to complete every single mode in the game with a maximum score, there is no need to obtain every new character and light cone to enjoy it to its fullest. My first tip will be, set realistic expectations. The game came out more than a year and a half ago, and it has a lot of different modes. Many of them can be played through with even the starting characters. However, you will not be able to get 3 stars in the 12th floor of the Memory of Chaos in your first month of play, and probably even much longer. They're called endgame modes for a reason. I would focus on building teams you enjoy playing with, and while you can of course attempt the first floors of the endgame, don't be discouraged if you don't clear it all. It takes time and effort to be able to clear it with a maximum score, and it is not the core of the game. My next tip will be to only pull on the character banner. There is absolutely no reason for anyone who is free to play to spend precious currency on the light cone banner. As a turn-based game, it is usually more important to have a strong team than a single very strong character. So think about that before you're tempted to spend your limited passes on the Lycon banner. My next tip should be an obvious one, but is sometimes forgotten. Plan which characters you'd like to obtain in advance, and don't attempt obtaining characters you don't like. Sounds easy, right? Only getting the characters that you like. But it's true, sometimes we see our friends play with a shiny new character and we don't like the design or playstyle, but it's so tempting. You might also see people say characters a must pull, and while some characters are indeed very strong, you should absolutely avoid trying to get characters you don't like. Games are meant to be enjoyable. They're usually much more enjoyable when you play with your favorite character in the team, instead of this character that you did not like their design or playstyle, or that you find them really annoying in the story. Personally, since she came out, Black Swan has not been the strongest and most efficient DPS character, but she's my favorite and I get the most joy whenever she's in my team. I would also try to save at least 150 passes when you know a banner for a character you really want is coming up soon. My next tip will be to shorten your daily routine by letting the material farming autoplay with a strong support. You can quite easily find very strong support characters. They can make the calyx or relic farming much quicker and also give you daily points. Letting the daily farming autoplay can help avoid burnout when you don't really feel like playing the game, but you still want to log in to obtain your daily experience and jades. However, remember that you do not have to log in every day, and that if you skip one day of logging in, the game will still be there. I promise you. My next tip will be to do the Simulate Universe every week to obtain the weekly rewards. These are rewards that are relatively quick and easy to get, and the Simulate Universe is a very fun mode with many additional rewards. My next tip will be, don't rush it. This game is not competitive and you should enjoy it, so take your time playing. The story in this game is incredible, especially the story of Penacony, and while of course if you don't enjoy it you can just skip through, do not rush yourself to catch up to the most up-to-date battles and enjoy this journey as well. Or the interstellar journey. Sorry for that bad joke there. My next tip will be, don't forget to take breaks when you don't feel like playing. Events can be done in later versions, missions are permanent, and characters will get banner reruns eventually. If you don't feel like playing the game after a while, let the game rest, and just come back when you have the energy for it. For small spenders, the best offer for Stellar Jades is the Express Supply Pass. Here in Europe it costs €6, and it is currently the best deal in the Honkai Star Rail shop. The pass gives 300 Oniric shards, I do not know if I say that correctly, a currency that can be converted to Stellar Jades or used to purchase skins, and earns the player 90 Stellar Jades each day they log in for the next 30 days after the purchase of the pass. However, please note that if you do not log into the game on a certain day within the 30 days, the Jades will be lost. Consider this only if you are positive you have the ability to log into the game every day for the following 30 days. Last but not least, in 3.0 there will be an ability to skip major parts of the story once you have completed the tutorial missions. Start the new story mission of Amphoreus right away. If you do not at all care for the story and simply wish to enjoy the combat and exploration of the new map, go ahead and skip it. However, if you do enjoy the story or you've seen those characters you like from the Xianzhou or from Penacony, I'd highly recommend to first progress through those quests. I personally loved the Bellabog story. Did not care much for the first Xianzhou story, but once we've arrived in Penacony, the Penacony quests have been some of my best gaming moments since I can remember. So take your time enjoying the story in its order. Amphoreus will wait for you. I really hope this video has been helpful to you. This is my first time making a video for YouTube, so if you have any questions about the game, please make sure to ask them in the comments. And if you're an older player and have some tips for the new players, please make sure to share those as well. I do also stream on Twitch 3 to 4 times a week, so make sure to tune in if you're interested in some Honkai style gameplay. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy trailblazing!